An extraordinary morning of headlines for Prince Harry all over the world, really, with a leaked extract of his book claiming that he was physically attacked by Prince William during a row over Meghan back in 2019. And in the last few minutes, a new clip has been released from Harry's interview with Tom Bradby this weekend. You might have seen a little preview in the break there, but here's the extended version.
I don't know how staying silent is ever going to make things better.
Wouldn't your brother say to you, Harry, how could you do this to me? After everything we went through, wouldn't that be what he would say?
He'd probably say all sorts of different things.
Some people will say, you have railed against invasions of your privacy all your life. But the accusation will be, here are you invading the privacy of your most nearest and dearest without permission. That'll be the accusation.
That would be the accusation from the people that don't understand or don't want to believe that my family have been briefing the press.
If you're invited to the coronation, will you come?
There's a lot that can happen between now and then. But, you know, the door is always open. The ball is in their court. There's a lot to be discussed, and I really hope that they are willing to sit down and talk about it.
Do you still believe in the monarchy?
Yes.
Do you believe you'll play a part in its future?
I don't know.
Says he doesn't know. Royal editor Russell Myers joins me now. We knew the book, you know, that he was keeping things back from the Netflix thing for the book, but I honestly didn't think that we would be talking about brothers fighting one another at that age. I mean, look, brothers and sisters fight all the time. They do. But usually not when they're in their 30s.
Yes, and I suppose not
physically,
in such a rage, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that's what's been surprising about these new allegations from Harry, because it's the context in which he says this. I mean, you know, brothers close together probably had a few scraps, you know, in their time.
All brothers and sisters.
As we all do.
They
But
do.
it's the context which this is set upon. The background was the discussions about Meghan calling her... Harry claims William had called her rude, difficult, abrasive, obviously in the background of the bullying allegations
from the staff,
around Meghan, and that it all came to a head. Then they had this huge sort of big punch-up, I suppose.
And it's so weird. It's the detail that's fascinating and also sort of quite weird, really. This is what he says in the book. This is what Harry says. He says, "It all happened so fast, so very fast. He grabbed me by the collar, ripping my necklace, and he knocked me to the floor. I landed on the dog's bowl, which cracked under my back, the pieces cutting into me. I lay there for a moment dazed and then got to my feet and told him to get out." Now, that's what Harry is saying happened. The detail is almost comedic. I don't want to make light of the fact that they had a fight, but it is almost, you know, the sort of the necklace and the dog's bowl and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
weird.
I mean, again, it's just to paint the picture, and if you look at the images of where this was supposed to have happened, Nottingham Cottage, where Harry and Meghan were living, it's a very small space. We've got a picture of it here.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a metal dog's bowl, which some people will sort of zoom in on because Harry says he fell back, the dog's bowl split open, he had cuts and bruises on his back.
Right.
But just the context of how did this happen? He said that William sort of launched at him. Did that happen? Now, I've spoken to a few people who know both brothers, and they were since this came out last night, and they've both been astonished about saying that, you know, did this really happen in the way that Harry has said it? Obviously, we've heard his truth before, haven't we? And the only thing that we are certain of is I don't think we will know the full truth, because Kensington Palace has obviously said no comment about this.
Are they not going to talk about it? Is William not going to talk about it?
I just don't think so, because what is to be gained from this?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's explosive. And I think
they have known about this before this morning. Do you think they're finding out about this while we're finding out about it?
Absolutely they are, because
Really?
the security around this book has been watertight.
You see, that's what's fascinating, that this is leaked, and to The Guardian in America this is leaked, but not to anyone else. It does seem a bit strange.
Well, read into that what you will, because, you know, part of the friendly press that Meghan and Harry have spoken about before. Is it trying to sort of soften the blow before these two interviews come out? We heard the ITV clip just a moment ago, and it's pretty explosive. But, you know, Harry's sort of flip-flopping. On one sense, we've heard him say, I want my brother back, I want my father back. Yeah. And then he is absolutely dropping bombs on all the family.
The one that's actually, I think, in many ways a hell of a lot worse is this whole thing about the Nazi uniform, which he addressed. He did address this in the Netflix documentary. He apologised. He said he was ashamed of himself, and, you know, he regretted it and all the rest of it. But he says, I phoned Willie, that's what he calls him, and Kate, asking what they thought. This is about, you know, what he was going to wear to the fancy dress party. Nazi uniform, they said, Harry writes, adding that when he went home and tried it on for them, they both howled. with laughter presumably, and said worse than Willie's leotard outfit, because he did wear a very strange thing. Way more ridiculous, which again was the point. So he's basically saying that they said go for it.
I mean,
wear the Nazi uniform.
Again, I think this is almost even more surprising because in the Netflix series he spoke about it and he's kind of owned up to it. I mean, he had apologised previously. This was back in 2005, but in the Netflix series he said it was one of his most shameful episodes, to paraphrase. But now he's saying, not owning it, and I think that's what he had been applauded for previously. Yeah. He's blamed William and Kate by being involved in the joke. I mean, this party was sort of a native and colonial party.
Oh, jeez.
It wouldn't certainly happen now. But you know, back then, 2005, the argument is a different time.
A native and colonial
But I think
party.
the issue is to drudge this up and now to sort of disown it and to say that he was encouraged into doing it. It lays it at their door.
By his brother and by Kate as well.
And by the princess as well, because he had a famously fantastic relationship with Kate. Yeah. And by dragging her into it. Now, people that know about this book at the moment are saying that it comes out on Tuesday. I think it leaks all over the place at the moment, but it's going to be a lot more explosive than Oprah Winfrey interview and the Netflix series. Nobody is going to come off lightly.
No, they're not. And the bizarre things as well, it's just these wee tiny details that are fascinating, that William calls him Harold.
Yes, yeah. That's probably
and then he calls him Willie.
Things, yeah.
That is just
but
really
again,
weird.
that shows you their closeness and how far apart these brothers have become. I mean, hugely sad situation we have here. We're talking about physical violence. He's really putting them in the gutter with this. And who is being spared here? What is the end game? Many people will be asking this because Tom Bradbury asks him, do you see a place for yourself within the monarchy? And he says, well, I don't know. The ball is in their court. Well, how can it be? Because in the first instance, he knows damn well that they can't respond to this. I mean, we may have a statement down the line, like the Queen's recollections may vary, but this is very, very damaging for all involved.
It really is. And also that thing, which I thought was terribly sad, when Charles said to both of them, you know, to both his sons, he said, please don't make my final years a misery.
Of course.
You know, that was like a real kind of, come on, sort it out.
And a father who is now, you know, in his 70s, talking to his two sons, who he can see before he dies, are becoming further and further apart. And there surely can be no way back for the brothers now.
Well, do you think he'll go to the coronation? He'll be invited, I would have thought. Of course he will, and Meghan will, and the kids will as well.
But again, he's talking about that there's been no willingness to reconcile. He said this last week. But we do know that Harry has been invited with Meghan and his family to spend time with Charles, whether it was in Scotland or at his home in Gloucestershire, but with Christmas with the family. Of course, whether they would come or not is a completely different argument.
That's very true.
It's just a bit of a car crash at the moment.
It really is. We're getting a massive reaction to this, as you would expect. You know, a lot of people are dismayed. A lot of people are saying, you know, it is physical violence. I know I said, you know, brothers and sisters do fight, but not usually at that age. It would seem they are poles apart. We're seeing that photograph there when they've got their backs to one another, but they just look like it's not going to... How do you get back?
Well, I think that Harry looks angry when he's doing the interviews. Well, of course, we'll see the full 2 interviews, ITV's on 9 o'clock on Sunday, and the CBS with Anderson Cooper, and it looks like he is being asked the probing questions. But you know, there's fire in his belly, and if that is just the starter to the main meal of what this book is going to be, it doesn't bode well for anyone.
Do you know what I think, though? I know I keep saying this, and I say it with hope. Hope in my heart. Surely that's it. There can't be anything else.
Well, I think we've said that. How many times have we said this?
I keep saying that all the time. I mean, and I just think there can't be anything more for him to say. And then you get this kind of thing. But
and of course, what is the end game? It looks like he's trying to bring down the institution. He'd already said, I wanted a family, not an institution. Well, unfortunately, it is an institution. He says that he supports the monarchy, but how can he when he's dropping these sorts of allegations?
It is absolutely... The whole thing is very bizarre, and it's so interesting. And I'm seeing this from all the comments that we're getting. The divide between sort of older people tend to be more on the side of the institution, if you want to call it that, and a lot of younger people are saying, no, they feel really sorry for Harry and Meghan, and I completely get that, I really do. But it's the younger generation that the royal family have to hold on to. And if they're not getting through to them... Of course. What is the future for the monarchy?
And it's particularly damaging to William, and you can understand potentially understand why he was angry and upset about the situation when Harry and Meghan were plotting to leave, and we know that they were doing that for a long time before they actually did it. So it's
frustrated.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah, he must have been. Yeah. Well, goodness me, we'll be talking about this until it comes out.
We will, on
Monday, and see what else there is. Utterly bizarre. Yeah. Mind you, if we all wrote a book about our families, can you imagine?
Exactly.
Indeed. Yes, this would be nothing in a way.